This is War Room Moments, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and most relevant people on the planet, hear their stories, and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. War Room Moments is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board. Here's your host, Jason Miller.
Hey, welcome to today's episode of War Room Moments. My name is Jason Miller. I'm your podcast host. We're calling this episode the Whiskey Moment today because I have a really awesome guest today. I've known him for shit coming up on 30 years probably, and he's a major influence in my life, even though he doesn't know why. But Mike, welcome to the show, brother. Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here, Jason. Always good to talk to you, man.
Yeah. And so talk a little bit about, your story. Let's hear your story. Throw your story out there and tell your story, and how you can include how we met and all that good stuff in it too. Let's just have some fun with this one.
I think that's great. I don't have the picture that you put out a while ago on it, or I would share it just because I think that'd be cool to share that picture of us.
Oh,
surveillance. That 100% canned photo.
The Hollywood shot.
Yeah, I can. You got it. You could put it up there. Or
I'm in a totally different side of the office.
Yeah.
So I
wouldn't
be able to find it. But.
I mean, yeah. Okay, no worries. But so joined the Army at 17 as an infantryman, light infantryman. Did that for a total of 12 years. Then I went Special Forces. In that time, when I was an infantryman, I met this young, I guess we were both young men, so I guess it's kind of rude not to say young, but back in the day when we were both young, Jason and I worked together in a brigade recon company. We did that for almost a year. And then when that was over, it was a test project. And then that was over, we went down to 3rd Battalion 327 Scout Platoon, Reconnaissance Platoon, and we worked together there. We were the only two sniper qualified guys in the platoon. So, and we worked there together for 4 years.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Years must have been. Yeah.
At one point in that time when we were working together, we spent 3 months in a 2-man pup tent on a field in Montana because we got deployed to Montana to fight fires. So Jason and I we're really close. We've seen parts of each other that I'm sure our spouses have not. So the dirty parts, not the good parts.
Oh my God,
yeah.
There's some absolute truth in that shit. No doubt about it. But
after
yeah,
Jason left the unit, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what are you doing now? What's the journey Mike Jackson's on now?
Okay, so my company, SF Business Consulting, I primarily work with SOCOM specific, but DoD medical providers, providing help with stuff like that. One of the things I do is I help out with surgery and anesthesia to Special Forces medics, which is very rewarding. Have a whole lot of little contracts here and there inside that company. Sometimes it takes me to horrible places like St. Croix. I help a couple docs run a wilderness or a jungle medicine and dive medicine courses with them there, just all over the place.
Yeah. So what most people don't know is that you are a bit of a little bit of a movie star in a way. Got to do some really cool stuff with survival stuff, right? Tell everybody about that, because I think that's really cool. That's not the movie star part of it. I just think it's cool. Right. You got to be a part of that, and that's really neat.
A really good friend of mine, Creek Stewart, he was on Fat Guys in the Woods with the Weather Channel, and a few years later, the Weather Channel hit him up for another show called SOS How to Survive, and he did that for 3 seasons with the Weather Channel. And he suckered me in by telling me that he needed somebody to like run the scripts and make sure it was all medically sound. I was like, yeah, sure, brother, I got you, whatever you need. And then he goes, hey, we might need you on set, just to make sure everything gets done right. Next thing you know, there's this camera pointing in my face, and I'm like, you son of a biscuit eater. And there you go. I wasn't in a lot of episodes. I was in, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, on a couple episodes for 3 different seasons. It was a lot of fun. And at the end of every season, when Creek and I would sit down, we'd have a breakfast or a dinner before the season was over or whatever. And he would always ask, Mike, are you going to do it for another season? And I'd be like, only if you ask me to. I don't like doing this stuff. And the problem is, I like teaching people. I like helping people learn stuff. The problem is when you have the camera over here and it goes, say X, Y, and Z. Okay, now the camera's over here. You go, now say it again. Now the camera's over here. Say it again. Now say it again. The camera, it's so repetitive and just tiring. But yeah, I'm a sucker to help a friend out, as you might remember.
Well, yeah, of course, for sure. But
then the Weather Channel sold it. The Weather Channel sold that to a company up in Canada, and he's been doing the last couple seasons on his own.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Well, I know we kind of came up with a little crazy concept of our own little show, right? And hell, that was just fun putting that shit together, right? It was. It was pretty fun putting it together.
And if knock on wood, that thing still comes through, it would be amazing.
I think it will sometime. I mean,
I agree.
I think we just got to pursue it a little farther. But the combat challenge. That's what it was. Was it the combatchallenge.com? I can't even remember what
I believe so. I believe so.
I think so. Yeah. The combatchallenge.com. There's a pretty cool video that we put together for it. And man, it's a lot of fun. We had some great conversations with some Hollywood folks though.
Oh yeah.
So,
and Frank loved us.
Cool.
If Frank could have pulled it off, he would have pulled it off. I mean, he just didn't have that kind of bandwidth for this reality TV space. But Frank's a good dude. If I ever make it out to Santa Monica, I'm gonna go buy Frank a beer.
I really like Frank. Frank seemed like he's real down to earth dude, and just a good old boy, right?
Yeah, I thought he just had bad taste because he liked me, but when he started liking you, I thought, well, maybe his taste isn't that bad.
Yeah, right.
I think something that's unique though between the two of us, we only have 50 years of active duty military experience.
Yeah,
that's nothing to throw a stick at. That's pretty impressive. Thank you for your service, Jason.
Yeah, you too, brother. Cheers.
Oh yeah,
and we have
more fun doing it with you.
And we have 3 brain cells, and 2 are conspiring to kill the other one.
Yeah. The third one's watching the first 2 fight it out. Like, who's going to win? Who's going to win? Nobody's going to win this one. Because of those 50 years of combined experience.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely. Well, it really comes down to, where I think you and I's major strengths are. Of course, there's the business side of things and all that stuff, right? But I think the leadership part of it it's like irreplaceable. The leadership value, and that's not saying every leader that's ever been in the military was worth a shit, but we both know better than that. But if you had a good experience, you had good people around you, you were able to really culture that and then take it out into the business space, right? And it's funny because the Red X article that you wrote, I found it interesting what you said in there, and that is managing soldiers is no different than managing business people, right?
Agreed.
It's the same stuff, right?
Yes.
It's just you're just in a different uniform. That's all.
And I think another thing that's different for a lot of other veterans out there who are also tried and true combat leaders like we are, and like you said, it's terminology. You can't refer to everything as a 300-meter target, a 50-meter target. And we understand that, but the direct correlation, people don't understand that translation. If you break it down to what you're talking about, it's easier to understand. Aim small, miss small when you're talking about sniper weapon systems and stuff. Right. As long as you understand how to translate, just like with any other language to another language, military jargon and jumbo and whatever into business, it works.
Yeah.
let me take the opportunity right now to tell everybody that when Jason retired, I gave him a plaque, and it was a sniper tab, and the little plaque below it said, best shot I ever saw. Without a doubt, in 27 years, Jason Miller is the absolute best shot I've ever seen. Maybe we should start another company, Snipers for Hire. I'm just saying, possibility, right?
Yeah, there you go. And the funny part is that tab, right, that you gave me when I retired.
Yeah,
it's mounted right below my son's BB gun in the garage.
Gave it to Barrett, which I think is awesome. That the lineage of just passing that down. When did you go to sniper school? Do sniper training?
Was that 90? Would have been 98,
8, yeah,
98,
so
something like that.
Which is like 24 years ago. I mean, I went in 90. I'm older, so I went in 90. You went in 98. So how many years of sniper experience do we have? Almost as many years as military experience. So I'd say that's a solid 40.
Yeah, right.
Tanya,
right.
twocrustysnipers.com. It could be a thing. I'll see if anybody owns it, but it could be.
Yeah, there you go.
Just don't tell anybody.
Yeah, well,
we just can't tell nobody else except for if you're listening to this.
Yeah. Well, hey, we did train the guy that went nuts in Montana, right? So
yep. Eunice, yep.
Yeah, there's a little it's not really funny, but it's you got to understand how military people compartmentalize shit. And that is we make fun of it, right? Because that's how you can really compartmentalize it. But deal with it, right? So it's a lot of police officers are the same way, right? It's
absolutely.
You know, my father-in-law, when he taught, he was in law enforcement for 30 years, and he'll talk about things, and it's almost like it's a joke, right? It's not really, but that's just kind of how you figure out how to deal with things and your way of kind of tucking it back in the brain, right? And you know, I mean, you and I trained a guy that he took his wife out through a damn bar window and pulled a real world fucking Rambo, right?
Right. Yeah.
Up in the mountains in Montana.
Couple 100-yard shot, you know, through the parking lot, through the plate glass window, you know, center mass, and then escape to the mountains. Yeah. I mean, that idea, he wasn't exactly all stable, but it was a good shot. Right. I mean, just like when I watch football, because I don't follow football. When you watch football, I go, that's a good play. That's a good play. I don't care who does it. I can recognize what a good play is. That was a good shot.
Right.
So, and probably because we trained him well, but.
Well, yeah, right. For sure. I know I found this like ballistics book he gave me years later, and I was like, man, I need to throw that shit away. That's bad juju.
It's called evidence. No, thank you.
That's bad juju.
We just said it on here, so you know. Besides everybody who watched this, it's just a secret between us two. Just us girls, you know.
Other than the 50,000 downloads that happen when it ends up on the Joe Rogan show.
It's not like I already look like Ted Kaczynski, so great. You're throwing me under the bus because you look like an upstanding citizen. I look like a homeless vet, you know. Just because I got a collar on doesn't mean I'm, you know, anything.
Oh, I can resort to the homeless vet look. There's no doubt about it. I can rock that pretty good too if I want.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of that, and again, like Jason said, we make fun of stuff that's not funny. You do a lot of work with veteran organizations to help stuff like that, and I do applaud you for that. That is amazing. So thank you.
Yeah. I love. You know, recently we had great conversations with Heart to Heart Coffee. Really, really great company that I don't even know how they do it, to be honest with you, with how they donate all the proceeds of the coffee sales. How they even, because it's a for-profit, but donates through to a nonprofit. I don't know how they do it. They figured it out, obviously, but
good for them.
Just a great company, and they really support veteran causes and so on and so forth. And then you know, several others. There's the name is escaping me right now, but it's he literally is building a fob. He's building a fob for veterans, and they can stay there for up to a year, and
safely.
Yeah, safely.
And that's a big thing.
Yeah. It's a safe environment. You can bring your
Yeah.
family. They pay for everything. And it's literally it's a freaking fob, pretty much. And
Forward
they've built
operating
this.
base for everybody who doesn't know what
Yeah.
FOB is. Yeah,
Right,
no worries.
right.
Gotcha.
Thank you for clarifying.
Gotcha.
But yeah. So, and he's built this wonderful compound, and it has everything that you could ever want. As a, you're a struggling veteran, maybe you're going through some shit times in your life, and the family unit's falling apart, right?
Yeah.
And you can go there, and they have all the support you could ever need for family counseling, all this stuff, right? Because I mean, the fact of the matter is everybody deals with that bullshit differently, right? So, I don't ever judge people when it comes to, well, I always look at my dad, right? My dad was 17 years old, thrusted into the combat environment at 18 years old, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't that young. Shit, I was in my 30s before. So, I was more like the guy when the rounds were coming in and all the kids hopped in the ditch, like, shut the fuck up, let's go. Come on.
Yeah.
It went like 800 meters away from us. Come on, let's go. Keep moving.
Yeah.
Right?
8 football fields away is a far away. Yeah. I got you.
Right. So it's like, it was already at a sage point in my life. Right. So, it was a lot honestly, different.
Hey, brother, I could not imagine doing what your dad did or what we did later on in life.
Yeah.
As young as he did it. I mean, I was in Somalia at 22, but I was 22. I already had a few years of suck it up under my belt before I got there. Right. I couldn't imagine going from high school real life to that. So, I love your dad anyway. So
yeah. Right. And that's where a lot of our young generation that joined and, they joined during wartime knowing, well, your ass is going to war. Right. So it just was what it was. But there's so many good organizations out there that,
there are,
just find one that's really good and ask all the questions. And,
but again, like you said, do your research, because there's a lot of fake organizations out there. Make sure that it actually helps who you want it to help for any organization you support. Yeah. Well, just out of curiosity, was it 4 or 5 books that you wrote that all the proceeds went straight to veteran organizations?
7.
Okay. Cause I can't count and, yeah. I mean,
well, shit, you wrote 3 of them with me. What are you talking about?
But I knew that you wrote 4 before I even got in the picture. So I didn't remember if it was 4 or 5. Yeah. So, that's nothing to scoff at either. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. I think by now we've at least built an entire house. I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that we've built the house.
Yeah. I bought paperbacks and hardbacks of your first 4 just to support the cause, because I knew it was going to a good cause. And not like I'm like to listen to your voice, because I don't, but I'm just saying. I did read them, but that's
so you probably fell asleep while you were reading the shit, right? Like, oh, let me drink some more scotch.
What are you drinking right now? Your Glenlivet?
Glenlivet 21.
21.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. 21.
I'm drinking Devil's Brigade. It's patterned after the first special service force. It is 60% Canadian whiskey, 60% American bourbon, 40% Canadian whiskey, because that was the makeup. 40% Canadian, 60% American of the first special service force. Fantastic.
Yeah. Cheers, man.
It's probably not nearly as smooth as yours is, but it's still not bad.
Well, one of my clients sent me that bottle, so I'm enjoying it.
As you should.
I have one client of mine, he loves to send me frickin' scotch. So
I'm sorry. If I could twist your arm from here, I would.
Yeah, right.
You poor soul.
And every time, because I always tell him, Glenlivet 25. And then every time he sends me one, I was like, that's 21. He goes, well, I owe you 3 years, I guess. And I was like,
so we can't count either, right?
So that's only 24, man. You mean you owe me 4 years, not 3?
4 years. Yes. Sometimes it's the thought that counts, though. It is.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. He was like, well, shit, I just wanted to get it to you today.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
So, well, hey, not to be remiss of something serious on this actual podcast.
You mean actually talk about something constructive? I'm okay with that.
If you could drop like a couple good golden nugget leadership things, right, that you could share over the years that you had that were like really pinnacle leadership things that got you to where you were and very relatable to, being here and in a place of where you've found success. And, success obviously is very subjective, right? So, but what are some of those leadership things that you think really got you here?
Well, first of all, you should never go from veteran to pole dancer. Okay, that's a plus. You should not, because pennies hurt. I mean, as fast as they can wing them. So don't do that. I'm sorry. On a serious note, though, I would say, just like in the military, in business, you have your men and you have your mission. If you concentrate on the mission, you're going to fail the men and make it hard for them to help you with the mission. If you concentrate on the men, your employees, they're going to be able to accomplish a mission a lot easier. Concentrate on your employees. Help them help you. I mean, the biggest thing is let them do them. You're pulling slight reins on the horse. You're not pulling tight on the horse. You pull tight on the horse, you're doing all the work. Let the horse do the work. The horse knows how to run fast. You just letting them know left a little bit, right a little bit. The men know what they're doing. If you did your job right with good talent management, putting the right personnel in the right spot, all you have to do is say, go this way, maybe 5-degree azimuth to your left, 7-degree azimuth to your right, just to keep them on track, because sometimes you give them enough leeway, they'll just run straight like wild cats. Let the men do their job. And by men, I actually mean employees. Men is a military term. Men encompasses everything. Men, women, children, child labor is a real thing, I guess. I'm just joking. Don't do that. When I say men, I mean all of your employees. I apologize for being old and crusty. But yes, men. I would say that is probably my big one. And training your employees, your personnel, in what you want to do. I want you to do X, Y, and Z. I want you to do A, B, and C, and then let them do their jobs. So good training of your personnel and let them do their jobs.
Yeah, don't micromanage, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't like to have hour-long meetings once a week. I like to have a 2-minute meeting in the morning and a 2-minute meeting in the afternoon. This is what I want to go, this is the change from yesterday's evening, because sometimes stuff happens overnight. This is the change. This is our left to right azimuth now. At the end of the day, it's like, who needs help with what? Okay, got it. Those are my marching orders. How can I help you do you better? So small meetings in morning and evening.
Yeah. It's like the art of the stand-up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The stand-up meeting. Everybody stand your ass up, and we go through the quick points of what it needs to happen. Here's the task. Here's what needs to happen. Here you go, Bill, Bob, Susie, Frank. Any questions? Go.
Yep.
Right?
And I like to stand up better because, how many times have we done, after action reviews, end of the day work, around a sand table with a stick pointing, well, this is what happened. This is how we messed it up. This is how we can fix it and not do that same mistake twice. How can I help you guys fix this? And I agree with the stand up, because if people are sitting down, it just is instantaneously complacent. And I say that as I'm sitting down and you're standing up. So apparently I didn't learn my own lesson. However, my knees suck and my hips suck and my ankles suck. And my back sucks. So I'm going to sit down if I can. But yeah, so that's something I tell all the young service members. Why stand when you can sit? Why? Because save those knees for later. Trust me. Uncle Sam's going to take whatever extra you got at him.
Well, that's true.
I would definitely say the two big points are make sure you train the people, put the right people in the right spots, and let them do the job.
Yeah. Yeah. What's a big win for you that you've had, do you think, this doesn't have to be business, just a win you've had that you think you could really share with anybody, a young military guy, a young up and coming business owner, a win that, you had to plan hard for, run hard for, and chase it, but get it, right? But actually achieve it.
I'm going to use an analogy, and I hate using analogies to answer questions, direct questions, but here's an analogy. So I just finished teaching a surgery and anesthesia class a couple weeks ago, but I've helped out with several classes throughout years and years and years. My nephew, he's actually my brother's nephew. I'm like the crazy uncle by association. I'm not a direct uncle, but he's in special forces training right now. He finished the course. He asked me if I would put his tab on him, which is a pretty big deal. So I went to my old BDUs within camouflage and I cut a tab off, put some Velcro on it, and I had it ready because I'm not going to give him the new one. I'm going to give him the crusty old one that's the wrong color because this is the one that means something to me. And I got there to help him out, and I recognized a lot of medics that I've helped out in the past. And I was standing on stage waiting for my nephew to come up, and the medics actually came up before my nephew came up because they do by different jobs. And so many medics asked me as they were walking on stage, Mike, can you tab me? Mike, can you tab me? Mike, can you tab me? And that right there was the biggest win because I dumped a lot of effort into helping them be the best they could be. I mean, they're saving mine and your brothers and sisters on the battlefield right now doing crazy stuff. And just the fact that they would ask me to help out just because I was help to getting excited. Sorry. The fact that they would actually ask me to put their special forces tab on just because I was helping out teach them just made the world of difference. And that analogy goes to put effort into your people and the benefits will just come rolling out. I mean, that was a win. It hit me like a sucker punch because I had no idea it was going to be there. I thought I was going to put my tab on one guy. I started tabbing so many medics. The lieutenant colonel goes, "Are you going to tab everybody?" I said, "No, sir, just the medics and one other guy." And when I put my tab on my nephew, I was like, "Hey, that's the wrong color. If anybody gives you crap about that, let them know it's off of my uniform." The lieutenant colonel goes, "Trust me, nobody's going to say nothing." And I was like, "Okay, so props, But I think that goes back into the two things I said: put your effort into your people, and they'll take care of you.
Yeah. Well, it's also, lead like you want to be led, right?
Absolutely. Because like you said earlier, how many times have we worked for a crappy boss? Lots,
Yeah, sure.
Do you remember when the battalion S3 wanted us to fast rope in with sniper rifles on our back?
Yeah, I do.
And we were like, no, do you understand what a sniper rifle is? I mean, you don't fast rope with a sniper rifle, clown. And some major thought it was a great idea. And of course, Sergeant Henry, of course, had our back and said, "Hey, if they say no, it's a no. We're not doing it." I mean, we're both fast rope master qualified. We could have done it.
Yeah, right.
It's just not the right thing to do. I mean,
No,
not the job of a sniper. Our job is to sneak in slowly, like we ended up doing, set up sniper positions, like we ended up doing, and then killing all the bad guys, like we were supposed to be doing. Hey, sir, like you said, don't micromanage. Just let them know what they know how to do and let them do it. Yeah.
It's like you trust people with their superpower, right?
Absolutely. Ask question of your employees. It's like, how would you solve this problem? If you give them the ability to do critical thinking at work, oh my gosh, you've just opened up a whole new world. Because how many people have went to work like a automaton? I get up, I go in, I clock in, I do my job, and then I clock out, I leave. I don't want that employee working for me at all. I want the guy to show up and like, "I'm here, I'm doing it. I'm just in it. You need help? Do you need help? What can you do?" I want the guy that gives a crap because you gave him the opportunity to speak his mind once or twice. Obviously, within reason, everybody can't speak their mind all the time because then you got all the cats fighting, and herding the cats is not easy. But once in a while, because you're the subject matter expert in this field, how would you solve this problem? You're in this field, So like you said, let them use their superpowers. I guess that's a superpower by itself.
Yeah, it's enabling people to be a part of the process too, right?
So but sometimes, like we were talking about crappy leaders, I know you had a crappy leader a long time ago, 3rd Battalion 327 scout squad leader, and you just overcame that guy's ineptness, his inability to do his job, his unintelligentness, That guy had a lot more. Well, I want to say a lot more hair because he didn't have a lot of hair. He might have had something that looked a lot like a mohawk kind of type. He had a lot of pretty face and hair, just no beard.
Well, it's funny because that major, here's a funny story. I don't even know if I've ever told you this, but that major. So when I left Lewis,
Right.
I went down to Forces Command in Georgia, and the G357 was a 1-star that, guess what? That was the major.
Oh, well,
that was him.
I hope he figured his shit out. I mean, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
We had a great conversation because he had this 101st thing in his office, right?
Were we no slack? Was 3rd Battalion 327 no slack? I don't even remember.
I don't either.
Oh, I feel like such a dirtbag right now.
Battle Force. That's what.
Battle Force. Yeah. No slack was somebody else. Yeah. Battle Force. Thank you. Yeah. Whew, all those TBIs were kicking in. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
And so we got to talking, right? And he was like, I was like, oh, well, what unit was you back at the 101st? And he goes, 3rd Battalion 327 ops officer. And I was like, oh my God, I remember you now, right? And, and we actually shared that story and laughed in his office as a 1-star. And now he's a 3-star now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love hearing it when leaders, we all make mistakes. We all say stupid stuff as leaders. I mean, absolutely. Sure. But when we fix our stuff, tighten our shot group, redirect our azimuth, and become better people, absolutely amazing. And do you remember who the 3rd Battalion or 3rd Brigade commander was? Colonel Mike Oates.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if you remember this, but Lieutenant Colonel Mike Oates was my battalion commander when I was at Fort Drum in his scout platoon. And when I signed into Fort Campbell, one of the guys who used to work in S3 up at Drum broke his back. So he was working in the housing offices, because he couldn't do anything else. And he got better. But he said, hey, Fighting Mike's in charge of 3rd Brigade. And I knew how early Mike Oates got into work. So I showed up at 5 o'clock, the crack of butt crack dawn and I was standing at his office, and he walks in the far door, and literally he hasn't seen me in years. And he goes, Corporal Jackson, what are you doing here? And as he gets closer, he goes, who fucked up and made you a staff sergeant? He goes, come into my office, son. Let's see what I can do for you. And I remember he goes, hey, because it was so early. He's like, hey, come back at 9 o'clock and we'll see what we can do. Because I told him I just signed in to post or whatever. And I remember him calling the personnel section and going, hey, Dick, what's your social? And I rattled it off to him. And he told him to him. And he's like, yeah, that guy's now in 3rd Brigade. He's like, I don't care where he was initially slotted. That guy's in 3rd Brigade now. He goes, yeah, I'll give you the next 2 E6s for him. And after he got the phone, I was like, sir, I don't think I'm worth 2 E6. He goes, I wouldn't have offered it unless you were. Mike Oates is amazing. Later on, after I went Special Forces, I went back to Campbell, and I was walking to the guest house, and one of the pictures on the wall, they had the ADC, or the division commander, ADCO, ADCS, and there was 1-star general, ADCO, Mike Oates. So I walked into the office because, at this point in my life, I got so many years of services, I could retire whatever. So I walked into his office, close. I think I was 18, but my shits were gone. I walked into his office, and he had a second lieutenant sitting at the front desk, and I was like, I'd like to see the general. And she goes, do you have an appointment? And no shit, Mike Oates, 1-star general, pokes his head out. He goes, what do you do? Still do it out there, Dick? Why don't you grab me a cup of coffee and get one for yourself and get your ass in here? And I was like, I guess I don't need an appointment, man. And I grabbed him a cup of coffee and walked aside. And he was bullshit. He's like, you almost missed me. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I just did my change of responsibility today. I'm taking over 10th Mountain Division and making my 2nd star. He retires a 3-star.
Oh, wow.
And the fact that he remembered some jackass, corporal, staff sergeant, it's like, you went Special Forces, that's so awesome. We have met some phenomenal leaders. If I could be a 5th, or a 10th of the leader that Mike Oates would be, super successful. Mike Oates, if you listen to this, You don't realize this, but I love you, man. Which is creepy because he's older than me and I'm old. So
hey, after 32, it ain't gay.
well, if your name's Michael Jackson, anytime you talk about loving somebody else, it's always gay. I mean that with all due respect.
Not that there's anything wrong with being gay. I'm just saying.
I mean, usually with Michael Jackson, it's kind of a other version of it, you know,
right.
the young man stuff. So
one of these days, by God, I want to see you in a set of silver gloves and singing Billie Jean or some shit.
You know, I have zero musical ability. I can't dance. I can't sing. Hence why I was an infantryman for so many years. But for you, I would do it.
Yeah.
Nobody else would want to see it at all, but I would do it for you.
Man, that's pretty funny. Well, so on the opposite note of all that, right? So, you know, talking about wins and all these things, what's been something that you've like struggled with in business that you could like impart onto a CEO and say, hey, look, Jack, don't do this, you stupid shit?
I would say in the leadership realm, it's really easy to get caught up with minutia. As a CEO, you should always be looking at big, long picture stuff. You should always be looking in sniper terms, always be looking at the 500-meter target, not the 25-meter target. Your spotter can take out the 25-meter target. Your job is the long target. So getting hyper fixated on the small minutia targets has really messed me up, you know, because we're all type A personalities. We want to do everything. But again, if we got the right people in the right spots, trust them. And I've had guys go like, hey, you're in my jello right now. Won't you moonwalk out of my jello? Because, you know, that's just a funny thing. Because it's funny you said Michael Jackson, but I've been told to moonwalk out of people's jello a lot. And it's like, you know what? It's really easy to go, I'm the boss, I can do whatever I want to go like, no, you are right. I'm in the wrong. Your lane, not my lane. But don't focus on the little stuff, focus on the big stuff. And sometimes, I don't think this is bragging, maybe bragging. I don't mean to brag, but I've had about as many TBIs as I've had years in service. So sometimes it's hard for me to focus on things sometimes. I tell everybody, hey, sometimes I'm like chasing silver squirrels. You know, sometimes I have to designate, you're my parent or guardian today. You got to keep me on track.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, it's true though.
It is.
That's really true. It's you know,
you've had a few TBIs yourself, you know.
Yeah, right. It's
that stands for traumatic brain injury, by the way, for everybody who doesn't know.
I was trying to think of what it meant.
You perpetuated the cause. Good for you.
There's some irony right there.
Absolutely. It's too easy to get hyperfixated on stuff that does not matter. And I do that all the time.
Totally is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we all struggle with that, right? We all struggle with, you know, it's our baby, you know, only I can do it best. I mean, that's really bullshit, right? There's probably hundreds of people that can do that shit better than you can, right?
Yeah.
So focus on what you do really well and be in that space. And like you said, moonwalk the hell out of somebody's jello, right?
Yeah. And because at this stage in our lives, we should be controlling the instructors. Yes, it's fun to be the instructor, you know, having the direct contact with the person. But I mean, our days of actual instructing are not over, but there's more people with more current experience that can be better instructors. You're just doing big picture and have the right people do small picture. It's fun to do small pictures. It's so fun to be in an operating room teaching kids about surgery and anesthesia. That's not really my game. I mean, the last time I did that stuff was a long time ago, and it wasn't exactly close to being right or sterile, but you know, it's what you have when you have overseas. So we won't talk about that stuff because somebody will probably, some black helicopters will probably fly overhead and snatch me out of here for just doing stupid medicine, not for doing top secret stuff, stupid medicine. Somebody goes, yeah. But so, yeah, I would say stay in your lane, do big picture as the boss. You're a big picture guy. You're not a small picture guy.
Yeah, for sure.
I mess that up all the time.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, hey, I got to tell you, brother, this has been a fun conversation. I always know anytime you and I get together in our freaking shenanigans together, it's always going to have some comedy in it, no doubt.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And I always like to ask this question. If you could have picked someone to be here with us today to share our shenanigans, right? Dead or alive, mentor or whatever, it doesn't really matter, right? Who would have that been?
Terrell. For the comedy aspect. I mean,
man, he'd have juiced it up, wouldn't he?
Yeah. If you thought I was stupid, where'd you get this guy in there? I'm a super smart guy, but so he was.
You gotta give some context behind that one.
I'm going to try to hit highlights. So he was more redneck than anybody I've ever seen in my entire life. He was from Connecticut, and we used to make fun of him. What are you from, Southern Connecticut? Because you're more part of the South than most of the hillbillies. Absolutely. Hard worker.
Yeah.
Down to earth. Do anything for anytime we asked him to do something. I mean, he was right there. And after you left, he took your position. He couldn't fill your boots. Nobody could fill your boots, but he did your job as assistant squad leader after you left. I mean, great guy. I would go to combat with this guy any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Likewise with you, of course, but just a great guy. But just the way his critical thinking was not like, it was more like try to keep up, Sarge, because I'll get there. You just gotta and it's more fun just watching him get there because it's just hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I just remember one time, I don't know where the hell we were. We were somewhere, but we were out in the woods or whatever, and he was on radio guard, and he was leaned up against his ruck, and I was like, Tyrell, are you sleeping? He was like, kind of snoring a little bit, and I was like, Tyrell, are you sleeping? He goes, I ain't sleeping, Sarge. I ain't sleeping. I'm just resting my eyes.
Yeah, we've all rested our eyes.
As the radio's like,
yeah, it's like, how the hell can you sleep? Yeah, you can sleep like that. I remember when we were in Fort Polk, Louisiana, the Joint Readiness Training Center, JRTC, whatever, JRTC at Fort Polk. We were in a hiding, and you had to wake me up like every 5 minutes. Stop snoring. I mean, I'm like sleeping like on my face, like face packed in dirt. It's like, I can't help it. I'm doing everything I can. I just get, yeah. It's like, you're snoring. Like, that was a great time.
Oh yeah, man. Just some great days. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Well, hey, how do people reach out to you in your company to serve with you? Just to kind of clarify, other than what he's doing on his own, obviously just the serious note of things, Mike and I are partners over in the Strategic Advisory Board. He's one of the directors. And, when I had the chance to have him on board, it was like, shit, why wouldn't I? Right.
Because you have good taste. That's why you shouldn't have.
Right. That's
just brought Sab's level down like 4 notches.
Well, how do people get a hold of you for SF Medical Consulting now?
They can hit me up on SF. The company website is SF Medical Consulting, but because the way the LLCs work, you can't have medical in your title unless you're a doctor. I mean, I've been called doctor in 5 countries, but America's not one of them. So the company's name is SF Business Consulting, but the website is SF Medical Consulting. I know it's words, they mean stuff, but I would say hit me on SAB. That's probably the best way. I check that email more often than not. And when in doubt, hit Jason up and say, hey, let me talk to the SAB's jester. His name is Mike Jackson. He knows who the jester is. He'll point you right in the direction, and we'll get it going.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Well, hey, brother, thanks for being a part of the journey with me. Appreciate you taking the time. I always say, we got 168 hours a week. You took the time to spend it with me. I know we spent much longer amounts of time together than that, but
in the same bed, in the same 2-man tent for months at a time. Yeah.
But I do appreciate you being here. That's for sure.
Yeah. And for the record, I may have been your boss once, but it is an absolute pleasure working for you now. I mean, you have mastered business on levels that I'm still studying on. And one of these days, I'm the Padawan. Maybe one of these days I'll be a Jedi Master like you, but I'm just happy working with you. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, cheers, brother. Love you.
Cheers. Love you, man.
And thanks for being on the show. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Tell the missus and the kids I said hi. I know.
Yeah.
He'll be happy to hear it. I said hi.
Oh, of course. God, they missed you the second you left a month ago.
Yeah, I felt bad for leaving. And congrats for your daughter graduating college. Good for that.
Yeah. She's doing great. And Barrett was like, "When's Uncle Mike coming back?" And his lip was hanging and all this stuff. So yeah, the kids just love you to death. I think it's the beard.
I think because I'm on their level. We're on the same wavelength. So they're a little smarter than me. I'll give it to them, but that happens.
Yeah, there you go.
But,
all right, brother. Thanks for being here. And
love you, man.
Yeah, love you too, brother. Well, hey, thank you for attending today's episode of War Room Moments. And remember, dream it, believe it, and just freaking achieve it. Don't look back. Just keep going forward. This is Jason Miller, your podcast host, signing off.
Hold on 1 second. And don't take me being part of SAB as thinking that SAB is really not that good, because it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm in it. For the record.
Deuces.
Love you, man. Love you, man.
Thanks for listening to War Room Moments with your host, Jason Miller. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we'll see you on the next episode.